Hello everybody and welcome to this video tutorial, Best Practice for using Shaper 3D for interior design. In this video I will show you a collection of tips and tricks with the goal trying to help you maximize how to use Shaper 3D for interior design applications. This will cover topics such as importing a cleaned up DWG, also making use of background images for further visual information. We will go into architectural modeling, and then we will finish this with an introduction or explanation about how I could use imported STL models of furniture systems, clean them up, prepare them, so I could effectively use them in Shaper 3D to plan out my office space. So let's start with a new design. And I will import a pre-made floor plan. This is a DWG. And the document I had to work with was a PDF. It's very often architectural drawings can have some inaccuracies based on how they were created or exported. Plus, I do not want to have all the lines and information that are inside that document, so I extracted the most important elements. There are various strategies how we could create such a new floor plan. In this case, as you can see here, I just drew squares representing the interior walls, and they were all butted up next to each other. This was very fast, very effective, and when we go into a perspective view, you start seeing that close shapes are all being filled. These fill areas I can select and, for example, extrude all at once. And you see the three different wall elements are one. So I do not necessarily have to go ahead and remove all these tiny elements which are there in between. This is a matter of preference, the way also how you would like to work. Let's bring in the PDF, which I have here. I have to go into the top view. This has to be rotated. And this PDF I would like to position and then also scale up to the correct reference. So I will try to see where could I ideally position this PDF. And there is one corner. You see I'm moving or positioning the move widget right at this corner, so I can line up my DWG plus minus roughly centered onto the line of the imported PDF or image. Very good. Now with this positioned, I can go to Translate and Scale, reposition that widget for the scaled center right at this corner again, and then simply scale this up till, as you can see, everything starts to overlap a little bit. Now the reason why I show you this process is, from my own experience, very often these documents can have some issues in it. Is this the document that was created before the property was built? Is this the document that was updated after the property was built? So what I try to say is, very often I find it the safest way is you still have to make sure that these drawings are correct. The best way is actually going into the space and taking some reference measurements to see if everything fits. This PDF is a little bit too visible, so I will set the transparency to something low. Very good. Let's take a look at how we can draft in Shaper. I would like to focus on these two rooms up here in this corner. And I will show you then how we can use the Shaper drafting tools and the sketch engine to very easily and quickly create these walls. When I select a line and this line, these lines, let's assume, are correct, and I never really want these lines to move or change. So all lines you never want to adjust, you can select, and on the right side you simply click the lock icon. Now you see that the end dots are solid. That means this dot I can select, but I cannot move it. This white dot I can select and move. Very good. Okay, now let's draw some lines for these two rooms. And there are various ways how we can draft this. I just draw a line from somewhere and make it snap onto the other line. This is very important, that you just really draw these lines snapping onto each other. I can select this line and this line, and then say on the right side this should be perpendicular, so a 90-degree angle. And we can see now that based on the PDF, this is actually not quite accurate. Maybe the wall is just a little bit rotated. The perpendicular constraint I would like to remove, so I select it and then just delete it. I can select the point and just line this up. Then I will select these two lines again and instead give this an angle, maybe 89 degrees. There we are. Very good. This point here I would like to extend, so I will select the lock icon, and then I can slide it along its direction. You see there is a magenta guideline. Very good. And now I will lock this again. Now here I can draw a line too. Make this perpendicular. This works really well. I can move this one inwards to here. Zoom in a little bit more. Give this a distance of 460 centimeters. So with this dimension I specified how long this line actually is. I can draw another line to here, and I will draw a line to there. Also here, this line to this line I could set to perpendicular. This line to this line I set to perpendicular. Now when I select a line, you see here I can just slide it really nicely. Let's get a little bit closer. This is also snapping to the grid. If you do not want the grid snapping, we can turn all these snaps there off. I can also select this point and this point and then specify this should be 550 centimeters. Maybe 560. Very good. Okay. Now we need to draw some interior lines. The easiest way to start is using the offset command, single, and I will offset this line 20 centimeters. Then I could offset this line 20 centimeters. Very nice. And let's go back to line. From here, draw me another line to there. Very good. There's a trim command. With this trim command, I can remove all, in my case, unwanted elements, like this. Then another line, another line. I drew those on purpose a little bit crooked. And at the beginning I mentioned lines you do not want to change, we should lock. This is actually a very important step to keep in mind when doing architectural drafting in Shaper. Now this line to this line, I would like to be parallel, so I can select them, set them to parallel. This line to this line also be parallel. This line to this line should be 10 centimeters, or it should be 20 centimeters. You see how easy it is to create these floor plans. I can also, when I do an offset, go to loop and do a complete inner offset all at once. The only problem, as you can see there, however, is this line and this line. That is redundant. We don't need it, so we can select them and delete them. This point I will freeze so it does not move, and this sliding along the guide I will snap to the other line there. And here now I can do the same again. Draw two lines, make them parallel, this to this, perpendicular, the distance 20. Very good. Okay, so you see this is actually quite easy to create architectural drawings even when the layout or the orientation is not horizontal or vertical. Let's take a look at a little bit more challenging part. I have here some of the exterior walls, but I would like to create the arc that is in the front, on the bottom part. Again, to prevent any changes, elements that should not move, I will simply lock. There, very good. I will do the same also there. Now, from here, with this circular motion, I draw an arc. Very nice. And then this arc, because the endpoints are locked, I can simply adjust there. Very nice. Another tip, when I zoom in here, you see that this is a little bit bigger, and this is called overbuilding. I can easily trim these elements away, or I just keep everything as they are, and then later in solid modeling remove the volume of the exterior wall from the interior wall. I will show you actually how this will work just in a second. So here also again we need an offset, single. I will do an offset there. This actually I would like to connect, but I do not want the center point to move. So I will lock the center point. There we are. This now I can move over. And I have to be careful how I'm moving it. And you see I'm moving the point, changing the radius, the diameter, but I can slide this actually along its radius. There, very good. This point here I will unlock and simply move down. Select these two and lock him again. I could trim them if I want to. Overlapping them will actually be sufficient. And then here I will do the same, slide along the radius. We need to make this line tangent to this line. So select both and then we say tangent, And you see now this line is tangent to this, but that's not the result I wanted. This line here got moved, so I will lock this point. Now the sketch engine understands that I want this line to rotate, so it is tangent to this line. There we are. Very good. Let's go into a perspective view. Take a look at what we have here. Very nice. Good. So if we extrude this just up a little bit, you can see there are some elements in there. So when we do the extrusion of the exterior wall, I want to make sure I have also those small elements selected. There. Move this one up, maybe by 1 meter. Very good. Okay, now we will go ahead and select this line and this line. Also extrude this up by just 1 centimeter for the moment, and then you see how the surfaces intersect. Same there. So check this out. We go to Tools, Subtract, and then we say from this and this wall, I would like this to be removed, but I want to keep the exterior wall. Click Done. And it did not 100% do this. So let's actually extend this. Sometimes you have to overbuild this a little bit. So let's do this one more time. U minus this one. Keep the wall. Yeah. And there you can see now how, whoa. Let me hide this. Very good. Okay. I will just undo these steps. So the question there now is, do you want not having to do these modeling steps afterwards, which is then always a good decision to maybe say, well, if I don't like that particular step, then I will simply use the trim command and cut everything away and make this nice and clean. So now I can simply go ahead, select this, extrude this up, then I will select this, extrude this up, and you see they perfectly sit next to each other. If you only have like 2 walls intersecting, then the trim command is actually not really a bad thing because it's pretty fast. If you have a much more complex architectural plan where you would do a lot of trimming, then maybe sometimes the solid approach is faster. Very good. Okay. Here, in this case, at this corner, when I zoom in, I have 2 arcs which were drawn like splines, and they're not really perfectly arcs. Would like to clean this up. Here again, I will select these 2 lines, lock them, and then draw with a motion an arc. And this arc, I would like to be tangent to this line, and then this arc tangent to this line. And then I make 1 more arc. And the same again, arc to line tangent, arc to line tangent. So this is actually super fast to create and rebuild these elements then. Okay, good. Let's take a look at how do we cut a door into a wall. I will extrude this one up to 300 centimeters, 3 meters. Then I will go to the bottom view and I will draw where the door should be 2 lines. There. Okay, I want this actually now to be Okay, so this line has to be ideally horizontal, or in this case perpendicular to this line. To make sure everything moves the way how I want, I select these two lines and lock him. And now I could go ahead and say hue to hue, 90 degrees or perpendicular, and here the same. What about the distance of the door? Let's make this 80 centimeter. What about the distance of the opening to this wall? 25 centimeters. 20 centimeters. And you see it moves the wall. So this remains stiff. And now I can specify this. The nice thing about these constraints is, as you can see, I can via dimensions move everything and not via a move command. I have to make this work really well, obviously, stabilize also my sketch, but this is not really much work. And then afterwards it is very, very easy parametrically to quickly adjust everything. So also here 80, this should be horizontal. This point is actually not glued onto this line, so it was nice actually to see this happening. Here the same. This point is white, but it needs to have a dot on it there, and now it is glued onto this line. And then here I will do the same, 25. Very nice. Good. Now to create the opening for the door, I can select this fill color and just cut this. Here you see more of the wall is selected, and this means there is a line that does not have a blue dot, and both of them do not. Okay, here. So there, we'll glue this onto it, and then we will do the same here too. There you are now. Okay. Some elements moved a little bit more, so this line I would like to lock there. Very good. Yeah, and sometimes if this happens, sometimes it's simply easier to just draw this again. There we are. Very good. The grid snapping was a little bit in my way here and just pushed the element. Good. Now we can go ahead and say this should also be 200. Let's hide the sketch. I would like to show you a little bit of what push and pull is. If I select this, it tells you, well, this is 100 centimeter actually from the top. I would like this distance to be 50 centimeters. So from the ceiling down, it is actually 50. What about the height of the wall? Instead of 3 meters, it should be 4 meters. So you see that you don't necessarily need guidelines. We can simply move everything via direct dimensions. Now if this is 50 and I want to have a door that is 2 meters tall and the wall is 3 meters, I know this then has to be moved up by another 50 centimeters. I can also use the translate command and say, you move along your direction till you have a height of the selected point. There. Very good. So that's kind of like direct modeling for you in a nutshell. As you can see, it is actually very good. Now, how do we do doors on something that is angled? It's actually exactly the same process. It's not much more complicated. I will select this line here because I would like to lock it. These two lines I would lock too. The rest is also locked. Very good. So now I can go ahead, quickly draw my lines here, there. Oh, this is actually a window there. 80. Very good. Also here, perpendicular, perpendicular. Distance 25. Here we would do exactly the same. I will skip this one, and then we can draft up the wall. I will select all this here, so we have just an interior wall. Also, you notice I'm separating interior and exterior walls. That is very useful because this way I can always have the outside and the inside as individual objects, and I can turn them on and off as needed. This I could call exterior wall, and this I could call interior wall. So you really also want to make use of proper naming of your objects, so you know who is what. Select this, and we just make an opening. So how do we do a window? It's actually pretty easy. I will do one cut here too. And now to create a window on this wall, we just select the wall and then with a finger double tap on it. And then with your pencil, we just draw the wall there. Sorry, we don't draw the wall, we draw the window. The lines here are quite crooked, so I will use the horizontal and vertical constraint to clean everything up nicely. I will specify this as 130 and this as 180. Now the other window should exactly be the same. Check this out. I can select two lines and say equal. And also here equal. If I make this 200, you see the other sketch will update. So we can kind of like create this way some very nice relationships. What about the height? We select two lines and then via tangent we line them up. So if this goes up, there you are. The window should be flush at the top with the door. So I can draw a line onto this edge. I will hide this wall, and you see then actually it projected this edge in. This line now I will delete. This line and this line should be tangent. And you see? Now they are actually parallel. They're all lined up. I will undo this step, bring back my interior. What about I would like to create a distance to the ground? I can draw a line here, vertical, that actually projects in the lower edge of my wall. And then simply here say these windows should start at the bottom at 80 centimeters. And I can delete this. Very good. Now to create the opening, we select these two faces and simply push and pull through it. And then here you can see Shaper gives you various options: make a new body, union, subtract, so remove, or the intersect. At a certain point, you create a lot of sketches. And the question is, do you need always all sketches? So my floor plan, maybe really neat. But for these windows, this floor plan, I might not need it anymore. So I will just delete it. Because again, if I need to adjust the distance from here to the door, I can select each face. There you see. So this should be 60, and then it moves it. I can also select 2 faces and then scale everything. Or I will use the transform command. Line this up and move these around. Pretty cool. Okay, very good. So we covered how to make a window in and a door on a flat, an angled flat surface. What about a bend surface? It's also quite easy. We'll go to a top view, and I will draw a line and draw a line. And these lines ideally should be perpendicular to these arcs. Now I have the arc actually up there. So this line I will move to there, and then this line I will move to there. Because this gives me really the correct rotation there. Very nice. And then I can draw a line here and a line there. Very good. I will rebuild my exterior wall. There we are. Very good. And hide this. And these two I will select and make a window. Now when I show my other object, this is obviously not at the right height. It should maybe start at 60 centimeters from the ground. Great. So this cube I can use to remove from this wall. There we are. Cool. Well, what about I would like to also do this with the other openings inside the wall. Now, because we started drafting everything quite nicely using proper drafting tools and geometry, I also here have this line, so I will just draw my the arc center point. So I will draw myself a line as helper. Go to top view, and I will go to transform, move, triple click this object, move this widget to there. I can turn on my PDF and turn on the plus function, so make a copy, and now I rotate this 10 degrees, 20 degrees, and to the other area there. Very good. Now all those I will use to remove from that wall. I will not click keep original because these objects I would like to get taken out there. And if the window is not correct in terms of height, I can select multiple and then just drag them all up. Very good. Okay. This basically starts to sum up some of the drafting and sketching strategies in Shaper to stabilize the sketch and then use the constraints on the right side to effectively create all the layouts you need, and then using the modeling tools to create the architectural part. Now I would like to go into the furniture part. I have here a model I downloaded. That was a polygon model, which I then exported as STL and then imported into Shaper and cleaned this up a little bit. And let me go back here to this file and show you the structure a little bit, and then we will continue. You see here I have module and module and module. So I always imported a new shaper file and then I placed it around. The main reason why I put this all into a folder is I tap on the folder and I can select all these objects that are inside that folder. That's a really big tip. So if I need to add another chair, I will not select a chair and then say copy and move, because now this folder actually has 2 chairs. I will just go and make a new import of that chair. And the chair's here. Let's move this into this folder, and now I can just position it as needed. Very good. So let's take a look at how we can create those systems. It's actually very easy. I highly suggest to create these elements you want to include inside a space as new shaper files. I will go import. Here is my furniture folder. There. And there are all my individual downloads. Let's go to the chair one. My design is in centimeters, but this model was created using inches. So this is actually very important, because otherwise the objects are not to scale. Here now is my chair. It's kind of like off center, so I will position this to the center. That makes it a lot better. This way I also know every time when I insert this chair into your shaper file, it will be inserted and positioned at the center of my design. Now I can go ahead and take a look at what's all the stuff I need, other elements that maybe can be removed, or is everything here really that needed? So this is not too bad. Yeah, we don't really have necessarily elements that are not useful. Let's rename this office chair red. Go to tools, color. I will colorize everything. You see by tapping actually onto the office chair folder, upper left corner, I can give them a color. Now, if I tap somewhere else and then turn color on and go to red, I can then with the pencil click on individual elements, tap somewhere on the screen, because now I will go ahead and give some colors to other elements. There. Super easy to give colors to these parts. Okay, good. Now we put this into a folder. This is all named. Now I will export this as a new shaper file. Office chair red. Continue. Share. Save to files. iCloud Drive. And there's shaper, webinar, I will just keep it there. Done. Okay. Yes, I do. Let's go back to our office. I go import. And there's my red chair. And there's my wall center, and there is the chair. So you see, it's actually super easy to do this. If I now want to colorize all chairs all at once, it's also not difficult. I go to Tools, Color. I can select the eyedropper and then sample the color from the chair and simply tap on every object that I want the color to be assigned to. There, very good. Now we have people with red chairs and people with orange chairs. Let's take a look at the bigger furniture system. So I make a new design. Go import furniture, and I will use the turnstone desk block. Also inches. There we are. I will select everything and just center it. Very good. Now the previous model had 18 objects in it. This one has 745 models. That is really a lot. So this is more than I really need. And I should actually simplify this. This makes work for myself a lot faster. It's easier to manipulate. And it doesn't really take that much time. So define maybe what. Actually, I will make everything first white. So I select white and then tap on the folder, upper left corner, tap on the screen. Now I can go back and give orange to individual objects. Very good. There. Maybe tap on the screen, some gray for steel. We have also some frames there. There you see, this is fairly simple and fast. Okay, I need to sample this color because I did not colorize that element. Very good. Maybe here I make this also orange. Good. Technically speaking, this is a duplicate because on the left side and the right side are the same, so I don't really need anything. I don't need everything. So let's make a copy. I will call this desk system and hide this folder. I will work on here. I would like, for better usability, color these so you see the others do not have that color. Okay, and now I'll go ahead and say this, this one here. I will try and select all the elements that seem to be necessary to have. This metal part, the door. You have to be careful that you do not click on the screen like when I did, because that then actually deactivates the selection. This lower face I don't really need because I don't really see this. So only make sure you select elements that are really truly necessary. The door handles are actually not too bad, so I will keep those. also here, there, 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 there. Very good. Then I go to the folder Dash System, and at the bottom, these three the icon with the three dots, I tap and say Move Selected to there. Now there's actually my system. See, I'm missing few parts. So this has to go, this, and this. Also, this one has to go, and this one, these two, there. They can sometimes also be inaccuracies or in these models or doubles, which is why I prefer cleaning these things up a lot. Good. This is not 100% everything what's in the model, but you can see this is more than sufficient. So this imported folder I can remove, and I could call maybe this A, or just give this a name that makes sense to you. I call this B, because you will see what I will do. I tap on the A folder, make a copy, rotate this 180 degrees, move this next to it. Ow, I made a copy, so let's undo this step. So I have to be careful that you do not make the mistake I did. Okay, so one more time. We make a copy, rotate it. Very good. And now turn the copy off. And now I will just move that copy. Bring this back, butt it up. And then I go to B, three dots, move selected to there. Cool. Now I have A and B. Super easy. Here, this again, we can save desk system and save there. Done. Very good. Okay. Let's go back to here. We have 2 rooms which are left to be filled. We will import those into there. And because A and B are folders, I can simply select these 2 folders, rotate this, and then see, is this system actually appropriate? Not really. This is too big. But what about if I move one out, maybe B here, I will just rotate and put this onto the wall there. Very good. And A, let's see, there's the privacy board. I'll rotate this one. Would this fit in there? No, this is too big, so we might have to find a different position for or location for this, or we will simply delete it. Okay, then we could put in some more chairs, etc., and so forth, and then this way decorate your area. Let's say you would like to put onto the walls some sort of artwork. We can import these as images. This is a pretty dark area, so let's say we would like to have a nice winter image. I go to Import, Photos, and there's a nice photo. Let's bring this up. Now I can rotate this photo, rotate it one more time, and bring this into the space. a little bit too big. So in this image we can also simply scale down a little bit more. There. And then we go back and position it as needed. So you see the snapping goes in 10 centimeters. If I bring this over, what about 5? What about 6? 7? 9? 8? Yeah, this is good. Okay, very easy. This is also another object which I can this way then turn on and off. Good. So to bring this now to an end, I would like to create, based on my office space, create actually a new DWG and then export it. And I will show you how we do this. We'll create a construction plane. I simply here select a surface and bring this construction plane down. Think about this as a piece of tracing paper. And in my office, yep, I will hide the floor. Very good. Now all this I would like to be flattened to a new element. Go Tools, Project. Then I select this face. You see that selects all these edges. Next, I can select this construction plane. Click Done. I have here my sketch. I will move this out. Give this a logical name so you know what is what sketch. I will hide all the rest. Double tap. And there we are. You see this is now a new sketch that was created based on the modeled geometry. So that's actually very easy. You can just push and pull. Let's say you would like to do remodeling. The remodelings will not be part of the original imported DWG. And then from this remodeled geometry, we simply create a new DWG. And then that we can export as a new sketch. You select your type of flavor, DWG or DXF. We also can include dimensions. So I could add this dimension and this dimension. So I have to add those to it. And if I now go to Sketch and Export, give this a logical name, include also the dimension. Hidden sketches, everything else that is there would be exported. Different sketches at different planes can actually be saved as different files, which is why I projected this kind of like below. Shaper as a 3D program does not work with layers because it's a 3D modeling program. I just work on different levels, if you want to see it this way. So with all this turned on, actually all my sketches, my cleaned up and the new one I projected would be exported as individual files. And this way only the sketch that's currently visible. One last thing I just remembered. How do you do a window that is transparent? We didn't cover this yet. To take any type of geometry and make it transparent, we simply go to Tools, Color, can make this blue, And then on the right side, there is the opacity slider. And with that, you simply turn a solid object into a transparent object. And that is it.